The racial dynamics in the United States are very complicated. But, I like to tell my students in my classes that history echoes. It echoes back to us. When I teach US history courses, we do focus a lot on race and class and gender issues. This idea of structural racism, of structural white supremacy, the ways that it's embedded, that you don't have to have people who are prejudiced and discriminatory to have a discriminatory system, to have a racialized system. For a lot of scholars that study race and racial injustice, white supremacy is a set of ideas, a set of practices. How do we fight against ideas? How do we fight against practices that really limit the possibilities for certain groups of people in the United States? For a long time in the United States, we had blatant types of white supremacy, racial epithets, burning crosses. Everyone in America today would probably look at that and be like, yeah, that's racist. But now when you talk about things like microaggressions or hate speech or other things like that, Americans don't necessarily all agree that is a form of white supremacy. But there are clearly ways in which society advantages and disadvantages groups based on race, on gender, and other things. And I think that recognition has been hard to come by, and I think maybe we're seeing more and more people in this moment starting to recognize that as also a type of racism and a type of oppression in a way that maybe people hadn't before. There's been studies by historians done about how was the GI Bill actually distributed. What they were finding was that African American vets were getting it at much lower rates because it was the local offices that were deciding this. So even though the federal government didn't have a discriminatory policy, the way that it was actually structured institutionally by the federal government through the VA resulted in this huge disparity. So you had Black vets who were getting only partial VA benefits, or they were not getting any at all, especially in the South, where we're still in the middle of segregation in the United States, legalized segregation. Say if you take two families, right? One is Italian American and one is African American, say in Los Angeles. The Italian American vet gets a GI Bill loan for school, goes to UCLA, gets a degree in engineering, takes another GI loan and moves his family out of downtown area out to Santa Monica. The African American vet doesn't get either of his GI Bill loans. And if you follow those families to today, 2021, which family do you think would be better off financially? We study history so we can then ask the right questions. That, I think, is the value. What are the conflicts going on today? And can those things that we've studied in the past help us to ask the right questions now?